Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Friday evening. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. And yeah, excuse my hair. Anyway, welcome. And always delightful to see new people. Just to let you know that we take Friday evenings to smile a bit at ourselves and just sort of lighten up a bit. We had a really good broadcast at lunchtime today where we were talking about passive aggressive behaviors. That's, people who are angry and not necessarily aware of it or talking about it, and how to be able to spot that just by their body language and also voice tones. And the interesting thing, once we can see that in other people, then we can probably recognize it more easily in ourselves. So thank you very much for all of you who participated in that. It certainly covered a lot of ground as usual, and it always amazes me how much ground we cover on those skills broadcasts that we do. But Friday night is a lighten up one, and so today we're going to be looking at some stupid funny quotes. Hi Jody, good to see you. And so hopefully this will put a smile on a face or two, and we will have various people pop in to join the broadcast as we go along. So if you are watching for the first time, hi as well. If you're watching for the first time, feel free to comment on the comment page. We always love that and love to meet different people. And if you are new, you might want to tell us your age range and what country you're in, or if you can, even what state you're in, or in my case, province, because I'm in Canada. Just to give us an idea of who you are and where you are. We always like to keep it as personal as we can. So tonight I'm going to be reading you different quotes from different things to do with stupidity. And an area of my life that I know quite well. And I'm hoping that it'll give some of you a smile. And the first one that came up for me, by the way, we want to wish Lauren a happy birthday for those of you who know Lauren in Tasmania. Um, it's always difficult for us to get her birthday right because she is in Tasmania. So, it's like, they're in a different day from us. Am I right in that, Jody? Is it the 17th already there, right? If I'm correct. I don't know even if I'm correct. But all I do know is that it's her birthday now. So we wanted to give her, very happy birthday wishes. All right, so the first quote, don't know who said it, but it's be crazy, be stupid, be silly, be weird, be whatever, because life is too short to be anything but happy. How many of you agree with that? And to be happy, sometimes you have to be a little bit crazy. It's like, how crazy can I be? Um, be weird. Yeah, don't follow everybody else. Have your idea of fun. You see, to me, this is really, really important. And I'd like to give you an example of this. I'm busy thinking about the fact that, I've got my brother arriving in a couple of weeks, and I had this major plan in my life that, by the time he got here, my house would be sold, I'd be moved into the new place, and I'd have money to give him a really great vacation. Well, none of that's happened. And so I am now sitting here with the budget that doesn't make that happen. And I'm going, if we do this right, we can have a lot of fun without a whole lot of money. And that is my challenge now, is how to make sure that he and I, with our quirky sense of humor and our peculiar look on life, can have fun, without a lot of money. Some of you who remember his last trip, and actually 2 trips ago, we went to Whistler just before the Olympics at minus 12 degrees. That was a memory. Yeah. And the last trip we went down the Gulf Islands here in the West Coast, um, with the trailer and camped at various places. Well, we don't even have the trailer this year. So, but the thing is that I was thinking, I might just sort of work out the budget and maybe take him to the Okanagan, to Penticton or somewhere like that. He's a wine person, and go and do a wine tour. Just for the heck of it. Now, that's not cheap because we need a hotel and everything else. Unless, of course, I rented a a trailer. So you understand, it's all possible to do. It's just a case of, will I do it, right? So I've got a couple of weeks left to work it all out. Or we just take the Jeep, and if the Jeep breaks down, that's part of the adventure. That's the way I look at it. All right, so here's the next funny quote. I thought I liked this one. It said, "A cop pulled me over and told me, 'Papers.' So I said, 'Scissors, I win,' and I drove off." For those of you who know the game rock, paper, scissors. Scissors cut paper. So the broccoli says, "I look like a small tree." And the mushroom says, "I look like an umbrella." And the walnut said, "I look like a brain." And the banana said, "Can we please change the subject?" I don't know why I like that so much, but I did. All right, now some of you will relate to this one. I am multitasking. I can listen, ignore, and forget all at the same time. Did anybody relate to that one? Yeah, I can listen, ignore, and forget all at the same time. That's been my week, I think. I really thought I was going to crack up laughing, and I knew it wasn't appropriate when Kimmy asked me, did I remember what she told me in a Facebook message? And I'm going, yeah, I've been under so much stress. I don't think I remember yesterday. You know what I mean? It was just like, never mind specific emails. Not good for me. All right, so how about this one? Doing nothing is hard because you never know when you're done. Now, by the way, how many of you have noticed that doing nothing is extremely hard? I'm amazed. I've had people in my life who are, very, very busy people. And I've said to them, "Are you capable of sitting down and doing nothing?" "Yeah, of course I am." I said, "Okay, let's try it." And I literally will say, "Are you ready?" "Yep." And I'll put a stopwatch on. And within seconds they're talking, and I go, "Okay, let's start it again." Because the thing was to do nothing. And, it's amazing. And the question I would have for all of you is, are you able to sit and do nothing? Not look at your phone, not go and quickly tidy up over there, or not just check on this or do whatever. Are you capable of just sitting and doing nothing? And, it's difficult to do. All right, so now here's another. Hi there, Nana. Good to see you. Nana had a haircut, by the way, people. So congratulations, Nana. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to post the haircut for everybody's benefit, but if you do, then let me know. So here's another nice quote. "My friend, remember that without stupidity, there wouldn't be intelligence. And without ugliness, there wouldn't be beauty. So the world does need you after all." All right, so now this one I can. Yes, you chop 10 inches off. Well, there you go. As I said, I find that when you do a major trim like that, I'd like to call that a major trim. The way you notice it is when you go to wash your hair and you're sort of going, what happened to my hair? It's very difficult to wash it after for the first couple of times, because you're so used to washing this much hair and suddenly this much hair isn't there anymore. Why do I use my turn signals? It's nobody's business where I'm going. All right, so here's some rules for a beginner pilot, if you're ready. All right. The propeller, the front, is just a big fan blade to cool down the pilot in the cockpit. When it stops, you can see the pilot start sweating excessively. You don't have to take off, but landing is mandatory. And how you do that is up to you, right? Pushing forward on the flight stick makes the Earth look bigger. Pulling makes the Earth look small, because you're going up, right? If you pull too much or for too long, however, it'll get to look bigger again. Flying is safe as long as you don't crash. I'm amazed how many people say, I'm scared of flying. And I always say, no, I'm scared of crashing. I don't have a fear of flying. It's the crashing bit that worries me. It's better to wish you were flying than to wish you were on the ground. If you think about that, it's better to be on the ground wishing you were flying than it than it is being in the air going, I wish I were on the ground. A good landing is a landing in which everybody walks away. And besides affecting apples, gravity also affects planes. So I thought that was really cute. Hang on one second. For some reason, I've managed to get... Oh, I hate it when I do that. Sorry about that. That's not the one I wanted either. Just bear with me. I accidentally nuked my screen. I hate it when that happens. Now I've got to find them again. We're getting there. All right, so how about two of the most common elements in the universe are hydrogen and stupidity? How many of you going, I've met both of those in time? I still can't find the place where I was originally at, so it makes it very difficult for me. And I will find it. Or I will find one that I like just as much. I put up a link on the Facebook page where Anderson Cooper was talking with Stephen Colbert. And I don't know if anybody saw that, but it was amazing. They were talking about loss. And I had no idea that Stephen Colbert was such an incredibly Zen person. And, if you get a chance, do just check in on that interview, because he was talking about that loss is a gift, which at the time it doesn't feel like it, but that loss, in fact, is a gift, because it means you're alive and that you can still feel and all those sort of things. And it was really an amazing interview. And so this quote from Pope John Paul II says, "Stupidity is also a gift from God, but one mustn't misuse it." All right. And there was a famous Brit called Bertrand Russell, and he said the trouble with the world is that stupid people are cocksure and the intelligent people are full of doubt. And I think that is so true. I don't know about the rest of you, but it's almost like the more I learn, the more I feel I need to learn. Do any of you feel like that at all? Um, it's really amazing how you sort of go, I really thought I had a handle on this, but now that I'm, this much more evolved, I realize that I just keep learning more and more and more, and I love it. And so, strange as it seems, no amount of learning can cure stupidity. A higher education positively fortifies it. Yeah, I'm amazed. Actually, I am amazed how many highly qualified, stupid people I've met. Do any of you relate to that? It's just like they might have incredible bits of paper, but boy, they don't seem to have any sort of what I call street smarts at all. It's like, on paper that sounds really good, but have you ever tried doing that? It's just like in the real world that it doesn't work like that. It may work like that in the books that you read, but really, show me how it's done. I'd love to see it. Um, all right. How about you've met some, Jody? Yeah, I'm amazed how many I've met. And I've even sort of gone, wow. Yeah, and and that they've got more degrees, than I've had hot dinners. Do you know what I mean? They just, and I'm going, ah, ignorance can be educated, crazy can be medicated, but there is no cure for stupidity. And I want to make sure that you all understand this isn't about a medical condition. This is about really. Some of you have met these people, on the road, right? Okay, so let's see what Isabel has to say here. My father says something like, some people are more lucky than intelligent. Yes. And it's a saying in French. I don't know if it's the same words in English. Yes, I would agree with you. Yeah, it translates okay, Isabel. Think how stupid the average person is, and then realize half of them are stupider than that. My mother has an issue with that. She would say more stupid. George Carlin said that. I think there. Have you noticed there are days when they seem to come out in droves? It's the same way as this. Have you noticed that some days, you might be out on the road, whether you're driving or being driven, and it's like, did the crazies come out today? I mean, really, because it's like on certain days, people who cannot drive come out to drive, and I think they wait for me, quite honestly. Mind you, I'm certain that certain days I'm that person. Oh, that's interesting. This bangle that's been on my hand since I was, hang on a second, people, since I was 14, suddenly biting into me, which makes me think it might be about to break. No, no, I'm wrong. It's got some bread dough on it. Okay, that's right. And the bread dough had dried and now was hard. Okay. Now then, it's only the wisest and the stupidest that cannot change. So if you're capable of change, you're okay. Um, Jody, I just wanted to. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not cut as well. I'm thinking, ouch, that hurts, or whatever that was. And of course, my fear was that it was, it's been on me since I was 14. So my fear was it was going to break. It's not my plan to get rid of it. And it's amazing how many arguments I have when I go in for, I've been in for quite a few operations in my day. And every time they say, we've got to cut that off you. And I'm going, no, you don't. And they go, yes, we do. If you can't get it off, we need to cut it off. And I'm going, no. You're going to bring me a piece of paper where I give you permission not to cut it off. And I will take full responsibility if my hand burns under the hot lights of the operating lights. However, you and I both know that if we put some good protection with, that white Band-Aid type stuff that they have, it doesn't happen. And believe me, I know, because I've never had it cut off, and I haven't been able to get it off since I was about 20. And I assure you, I've had more than a couple of operations since then. And it's amazing how they start off being so arrogant about it, and by the time I finish, they just give up, because it's obviously, I'm not going to let them cut it off. So there is nothing worse than aggressive stupidity. Yeah, I've seen that as well. But you have to smile every now and then and go, and that's what a smart person looks like? Yep. Man has made use of his intelligence. He invented stupidity. And by the way, I always like to do the Friday evening broadcast, because sometimes, we get pretty serious at lunchtime. And so to me, it helps me also defuse a little bit after doing all that preparation for the Friday lunchtime one. And Jody, sort of said to me today, I can't believe that you do all that research when you were so busy doing everything else. And I said, yeah, it's just, there are some days where I just go, I'm not quite sure how I juggled all those balls in the air. I would say the last 24 hours were pretty impressive for me. And I'm still laughing a little bit, so that is good. And, I do think it's a state of mind, right? And I really know from my experience that it really helps to put everything in its little compartments. And so, last night I was dealing with all the issues about the house subjects until I'd had enough. And then I literally zoned out with the idea. Hi, Nyasha. I zoned out with the idea of just, watching a couple of movies if necessary, just to quieten me down. And then somebody emailed me at about 1:00, and it was urgent, so I dealt with that. And then I went back again and tried to relax and go back to sleep, and I was just going to sleep when, boom, somebody else emailed me, and it was another urgent one to a different person. And I just went, I don't know why I bothered to try and sleep. All right. I want to tell you, Isabel, the subject this afternoon was pretty intense in places, and hopefully people learned something by it. I do hope so. I often wonder, as I'm doing all this stuff, I hope they benefited from that. Because, all the time I'm taking some quite difficult subjects and trying to make them a little bit easier for people to understand. To be stupid and selfish and to have good health are 3 requirements for happiness. Though if stupidity is lacking, the others are useless. Well, Nana, you don't take your phone in your room at night. That is awesome. I'm very proud of you. I have my phone, my tablet, and my laptop in my bedroom at night for 3 completely different reasons. My laptop I watch movies on, my tablet I play games on, and then my phone I check to see if anything's come in that I need to deal with. So, and it works for me. And I certainly don't. I don't. What's the word? I don't have an issue if somebody is in crisis. I want to be there, so that is my choice. I will assure you that some people contact me at funny hours, and I will just see who it is and what it is, and I will just turn over and go back to sleep. But most people, I must say, most people when they're calling me or emailing me at that time of night, there's a good reason for it. And I must admit, last night, both of them had good reasons. How about this one? Stupidity isn't punishable by death. If it were, we'd have a great population drop. Do any of you agree? Yeah, Jody's saying I can't sleep without my phone. Yeah. Actually, the other thing is I find that I only have certain people on my phone that it actually tells me that they're contacting me. You know, I've turned off the notifications from other people. There's certain people. So if any of those certain people, if I hear that ding go, I know it's one of the people I care about deeply. So therefore, you know, I want to be able to answer it. So stupidity is the same as evil if you judge it by the results. Margaret Atwood wrote that. Huh. The more stupid one is, the closer one is to reality. I've heard this before. The more stupid one is, the clearer one is. Stupidity is brief and artless, while intelligence squirms and hides itself. Intelligence is unprincipled, but stupidity is honest and straightforward. How about that? Do any of you get what that person is saying? Yeah, it's not that you have to, but you know, I must admit, I do the same thing. I will turn on certain movies or certain programs so I can go to sleep. You know, it's just like, okay, fine. And that'll send me to sleep beautifully. Thank you very much indeed. And, you know, we all have different ways. And I know that the experts say don't take your devices into your bedroom. Well, yeah. Oh, did I mention I also have my television in my bedroom? So I've got my television, my laptop, my tablet, and my phone. And normally my television is on. Hi, Malta. Yes, you feel lost without your phone. Well, you know, the funny thing is I have my television on with the sound on, so I can see is if anything is going on that's important in the world, and you know, it's really an amazing juggling act, but it works for me. I think that's the important thing. How many hours a night do you guys sleep? And the reason I say that is because both Jody and I spent this year working on getting more sleep, and it's really interesting. It is doable. All right, so Malta, I presume that's where you are? Are you from Malta, or is it just a name that you picked up? I'll let the viewers here let you know where they're from so that you've got an idea. I don't know if you've listened to us before. How did you find us, Malta? All right, you spend approximately 5 hours a day or night sleeping. Yes, I understand that. All right, so Isabel's saying not enough. Hi there, that's the Brit uh, called Paul, but we call him the Brit. Good to see you. We're just talking about how much sleep people get at night. Ah, you found me through a recommendation from Jody. Well, that tells me everything I need to know about you, Malta. But you are more than welcome. And let us know if. So, are you also in that same part of the world, which I believe is New Hampshire, or are you in a totally different part of the world? Ah, you like the quotes about stupidity. Well, we got more coming. I've got quite a few here. You're in Ontario. Well, we got a couple of viewers from there. And you're a train spotter. Really? That is amazing. So you know what a double header is and all that sort of stuff. Now, how many people know what a double header is? We're all, some people are going to learn something today. I always find it fascinating how people come up with their names. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you definitely know. Anybody not know what a double header is in trains? And I don't want to get this off on the wrong footing here, but in terms of trains, do you know what a double header is? And should I play dum 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 dum? All right, so a double header is actually does it apply equally to uh, electric trains as it does to steam? I first heard about it when I was part of a steam engine society. Anyway, a double header is when you have two engines at the front. That's why it's called a double header. Double, two of them, header at the front. And so, like if you've got a train that's got a very heavy load, they will have a double header so that it's got twice the strength to pull the train up the thing. It applies to electric trains as well. Two engines in front. There we go. All right. So the British saying, and with regards to sleep, I don't tend to kip. He talks Brit. To sleep until about 8 a.m. because I'm up. Yes, you are geographically challenged. The love in your life is in Georgia, so you spend all night chatting. Boy, how many of you wish you had the time to be able to make that decision for yourself? To be able to talk all night and sleep all day. Yeah. So John Stuart Mill said stupidity is much the same all the world over. A stupid person's notions and feelings may confidently be inferred from those which prevail in the circle by which the person is surrounded. Not so with those whose opinions and feelings are, God, that makes me even, yuck, I just don't want to read any more of that. And so for at least 2/3 of our miseries spring from the human stupidity, human malice, and those great motivators and justifiers of malice and stupidity. Idealism, dogmatism, and all that stuff, including on behalf of religious or political idols. That actually is more true than I care to think about. I want to say that this is about stupidity, but let me ask you something. How many of you quite enjoy stupidity? And I say that because I'm normally at my happiest when I'm being a little bit stupid. All right, so that's interesting. The Brit says all education on paper that anybody could ever want, but not everyday education. So we're not taught enough to be able to live on our own. I also, I made a comment once, Brit, when I was being interviewed by a business magazine. They were interviewing me once, and my question to them is, I do not understand why we do not teach salesmanship at school. Because surely if there's one skill that we all need, it's the ability to sell ourselves or our ideas. If you want to be, hi Juliana, if you want to be in love, you have to sell. I don't mean sell yourself in a negative sense. Hi there, Becca. Good to see you. But we need to do that. If you want to apply for a job, you need to sell yourself. And so to me, it always struck me as strange that we teach some things that people will have absolutely no use for, but we do not teach them the things that will help them get on in life. So no video or sound feed. Okay, so yeah, thank you very much, Jody. It's amazing how many times Becca has that problem. I think she has a low what do you call it? Internet speed, and that probably has a problem. Yeah. It's so true though, isn't it, Britt, that we have, and I was saying that earlier, that I know a lot of people who've got an awful lot of degrees, but boy, they can be stupid. Yeah. So whilst Nana is busy talking geography, let's get on with it. Life is hard, but it's harder if you're stupid. Now, I want to say that I think life is hard, but it's harder if you don't have a sense of humor. How many of you get that? It's like sometimes we take everything so personally when really it is, just the way. And so, Nana, go right ahead. It's just that that's a conversation between the two of you, and I want to be able to carry on with everybody else. There you go. Now Becca's got it. Okay, good. Well done, Becca. We live in an era of smartphones and stupid people. And worse than that, stupid people having smartphones. I find it really amazing how many people do not do what they need to do to be able to understand the electronics that they use. And it really is quite fascinating to me how few people do that work. So stupidity is not a crime, apparently. You're free to go there. How many of you have met totally stupid people on the road? And it's really amazing to me because I've learned a new thing to keep me calm on the road. When any stupid driver, some of you have seen me do this in my video when I'm doing a vlog. I try to get amused by stupid people on the road or stupid people in car parks. Because I think it's really important to find them amusing rather than let them spoil my day. And by the way, it's just one of those things. What about childish and immature stupidity? Can you give me an example, Britt? Yeah, Malta is a guy and a friend of Jodie's who just came in this evening. Becca, just so that you know. And yeah, people watching is always a pleasure. But so-called adults who generally act like kids. How old is Malta? Okay, thank you, Malta, for answering that. I didn't need you to actually tell us exactly the age. Hi, Sharon, good to see you as well. How about stupidity makes you dangerous to yourself and everybody else around you? What do you think? I'm trying to think. Have you ever had a neighbor that was a stupid person? I just, because I have. Really scary sometimes. Yeah, Juliana relates to that. Yep. It was just like, I wonder how that person survives life. Because really, their ability to think like halfway, It's just like, really? I had a friend of mine who literally, I'm not joking, he was an a physicist, seriously smart, and had more degrees than you can believe, and he could be so stupid. And he just didn't understand. I don't know how to say this, but he didn't understand um, the basics. He couldn't understand why I didn't have as many degrees as he did, but I was the one driving the Beamer, the BMW, and he had all these degrees, and he was driving a beat up Volkswagen. And I tried to explain to him as nicely as I could. The reason for that is because you got all those degrees and do as little as possible, and I didn't, and I do as much as possible. And that brings me different rewards. You get to have lots of letters after your name, and me, I get money. He really he couldn't fathom that at all. Oh, you call it purchasing a degree? No, he earned his the right way. He didn't buy it. He really was a very smart cookie. But the only thing was that he thought being smart should give him, a better salary. And I'm going, no, life isn't like that, I'm afraid. I know you think that you are more entitled than I am, but I work really hard to get my money. All right, so Sharon's saying she had a cousin that taught physics at Auburn University. They say he couldn't carry on a normal conversation. So you totally understand what I'm talking about. It's just like, and I don't know about you, but I'm amazed how many people ask me questions they could just ask Mr. Google. I mean, and by the way, the other thing that always makes me laugh is, a lot of the questions people ask me, as fast as I'm answering them, I'm also on Mr. Google trying to find an answer for them. And I'm going, why do I need to do this? They could do this. Oh, how about that one? That's an interesting one. Yes, just says they all have certificates, but they don't have the education to back them up. Yeah, it is. I must admit there have been times. But the other thing is, I'm amazed how many times I have been perceived to be way smarter than the average bear. And, I don't really think I am. But, it's amazing how many times very intelligent people have perceived me to be way better educated than I am. And, when I think about it, most of my education has been about life. Oh, so Becca thinks Google is in plural. That's interesting. All right, so the Brit's saying it's called being bone idle. I'm not going to repeat the swear words. Be careful. It's just be careful, Brit. I'm going to give you that warning again that this is YouTube and it really doesn't like swear words. So just watch them. It probably doesn't even recognize that one because it's a British one. All right, so how about this one? Think about this one. Men are born ignorant, not stupid. They are made stupid by education. Now, I tell you, there's part of me that agrees with that. There's part of me that I think that's why I like the Montessori educational system, because it actually goes with the development of the person that's being taught. They don't say because you are this age you fit into this little box. Montessori says your name is Sal and we're going to educate you as best we can, and if you happen to be 3 years ahead of the other people of your age, that's fine. We'll just educate you that way. I can always remember. I can always remember that when I was in Africa, I had a parent come to me and say, "I wonder if you can work with my child." And I go, "Why?" And they said, "Because he's suicidal and all sorts of things and really stupid. And I said, oh, that tells me a lot. Okay. And I spoke to the child. I think he was about 14 or so. And I looked at him, and being who I am, I said, now listen here. Do you know why you're here? Well, you're some sort of shrink or something. I said, no, actually, I'm not. I'm just a human being. But seriously, why did they give you a reason why you've come to see me? And he said, well, because I'm a problem for them. I said, yeah, you sure are, buddy. You sure are a problem for them. So I said, how about you tell me why they are a problem for you? And he said, what? I said, tell me why they are a problem for you. And he said, well, they're so darn stupid. I burst out laughing. I said, give me some examples. And he did. And so, it is really interesting because the more I talk to him, um, the more I was impressed by his intellect. And what I did at the end, I said to him, I want to tell you what I'm going to tell your parents, just so that you know. And he said, okay. And I said, I'm going to tell your parents to go and have you tested. And he said, what, to prove that I'm stupid? I said, no, actually, I think you're a genius. He said, what? I said, I suspect that you are actually a genius. And therefore, I'd like to have you tested to prove that, because then your parents would understand why they don't understand you. All right. And I said, and if I'm correct in this, you will get completely different education, because I talked to him about how it was at school and everything else. And I said, you'll get completely different education and a completely different respect. And I think you probably deserve it. But until they test you, I can't prove it. And he said, are you serious? I said, yeah, absolutely serious, buddy. Go and get tested. And guess what? They tested him and he was. You see, his brain, he wasn't the stupid one. The parents were the stupid ones. And, he didn't fit into the boxes that they wanted him to fit into. And why? Because he didn't think like normal people. Right? But they kept wanting him to act like normal people. Well, guess what? Do you think Einstein acted like a normal person? So you look at it and you go, well, there's also that. Uh, how many geniuses have zero common sense? I don't know. I haven't met that many geniuses in my life, probably less than 10, but I have met a few. And, some of them did have common sense, quite honestly, or the ones that I can remember. So what I'm trying to say, though, is that I think that education is a very interesting thing. I think, for example, that a lot of people have been educated to actually to be stupid. Yes, Nyasha, I agree with you. I think you're an out-of-the-box thinker without a doubt. And I think also that your parents are very much in-the-box thinkers. And that's why you have so much problem. They can't control you and it makes them angry. I didn't know that Einstein had Asperger's. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Without stupid people, we would have no one to laugh at. All right? With Becca is saying, I've always been an out of the box thinker and my mom isn't, which caused a lot of our conflicts. Absolutely, Becca. And also, Becca, if you'll excuse me saying this, I think a lot of your shame as well. I think your mom shamed you a lot. Right, Nyasha. Most people tend to think what other, and do what other people do. Very few people think for themselves. How many of you have seen how much fun I have doing experiments with food? I don't follow recipes. I go, I wonder what it will taste like if I throw this in with this. Right? And I'm prepared to have failures. It doesn't worry me. It's just like I just don't want to read a recipe. So, on certain things. I know in baking you need to follow it. And I don't mind that it takes me longer. And I also laugh about it. It's like I find it just fun to play. It's like my mud pie thing. All right, so Niesh is saying people can't think for themselves, right? Unique thinking. They can only think the way that everybody else does. And Niesh, that's why I said I have not found you to be a slow or stupid person. So I get quite upset when you call yourself that. The Brits saying nobody in my family understands me, right? And your dad's temper terrifies you. Yes. We were talking about anger at lunchtime today. We were doing some work on that. So this is the whole thing. Do any of you ever think, I wonder if we have the same parents, because there are times when I look at my siblings and I think, I wonder whether we have the same parents. Because I appear to be just a little different. And there's the old saying that she looks really smart until she opens her mouth, right? Yeah, and that's very terrifying, Britt. Am I allowed to repeat that? This is goes out on a repeat broadcast, so I just want to make sure that you are okay that I repeat that trigger, because I think some people will relate to that. And that's what I always find fascinating, is we always start on one subject and we end up talking about something completely different. But that to me is half the fun. All right, so what the Brit says is that his father's temper terrifies him, and that his father's temper can switch at the drop of a hat. All right, you can just look at him the wrong way and boom, he explodes. So do any of you relate to that? Have any of you had that in your family? That somebody who really has a temper problem, an anger problem? Uh, I have versions of it. I've had versions of it in my life. But, particularly, and I want to say that for those of you who don't fit into the right box, most of the problems I found that I have around me are people who don't want me to be a free thinker. They want me to do things their way. Well, that's very honest of you. The Brits saying that the two of them clash with each other, quite chronically. But also he's saying, but my temper's no better. Well, the reason that your temper probably isn't better is because you learnt it from your father. As you grew up, you thought that was the way to do it. And I'd like to suggest that you haven't probably done a lot of work on anger management. Wow, interesting, Malta. Am I allowed to repeat that, remembering that this is going to go out on a replay? Let me know, Malta. All right, so Jodie's saying that several of her family members had that temper that could switch like that. Okay, thank you very much, Malta. I appreciate that. You understand why I like to check as you're a new viewer. So Malta's saying, my father had anger issues and I was diagnosed with a learning disability. Do you know something? I think I have a learning disability as well, but I've never let that stop me. How about you, Malta? I've got a feeling you didn't let it stop you either. Becca's saying that, her mom didn't really have an explosive anger. Hers was more just a constant frustration that got transferred onto anybody else but herself. Yes, I totally understand that. Yeah. Yeah, we call it a trigger in this context, Brit. It's called a trigger. Somebody can get triggered like this. Right. Listen to this. Malta's saying that his learning disability was just a label. It never affected me being held back after high school. Right? Isn't that interesting? I was found. There were certain subjects that I was classed as being not good at school. And yet when I got into the workforce, I loved those subjects and did really well. Why? Because I self-taught myself to get it and did it in a hurry. And, I excelled in a lot of things. People were quite surprised. And Juliana's saying, my dad, when he was driving, has crazy screaming. He has road rage. But other than that, he's okay. How many of you have got people in your life with road rage? I had a friend of mine who, if anybody just joined the lineup in front of them, like they're filtering in from a side road, she would go insane. It was like the road was hers. And how dare you cut in front of me, even though it was a filter lane? I said to her one day, you really want to have a look at this. All right. So Becca, do you want me to repeat that or not? That might be something you just want to keep within the room of the people who are watching. And I'd like to honor that if so. But I want to tell you that I do believe that learning is a very interesting thing. I knew one child that supposedly was a very slow learner. And I said to the mother, you may want to wait until, oh, it's okay to say it. All right. So hang on a second, guys. All right. So I said, you may want to wait until he's finds something that motivates him. And the funny thing was he went into cadets, and cadets really, he loved the pomp and ceremony of cadets. And he was chief in no time. Now, you know how many things he had to study, how many exams he had to take to make it to chief. You see, he found something that he wanted to learn. Up until then, he was bored. He didn't want to learn. All right. So Becca said, I don't know if I've ever shared this with you before, but I repeated my sophomore year of high school. I refused to say held back. It was both learning and health driven. Yes, I totally understand that. And you've relinquished the guilt from it. Absolutely. Good for you. It just is what it was. I'm so proud of you for letting go. And it doesn't mean you were stupid. It means you were sick that year. That is awesome, Becca. That is great growth. I'm pleased to hear that. All right. So Britt saying chief was slang for idiot in his school. It's a title in the military, in the cadets, and it's pretty high up. Yeah. So, and the funny thing was that he really was. He really was a smart cookie. He just needed something that he wanted to learn. And Becca's saying, that's the year I got diagnosed with my thyroid disorder. Yeah, that's young to have a thyroid disorder, right? And I mean, I also have one. So believe you me, I know that it can be a difficult time. John Grisham, the author, wrote about in one of his books, if you're going to be stupid, you got to be tough. God, that's so true, isn't it? All right, let me see what we've got here. Isabel, I have anger issues too. When people don't make their stop, no flasher, cutting my car has to stay in one. Yeah, it's interesting, Isabel. If I can say this to you, I have learned how to relax myself when the stupid people are driving. What I now say, I used to get really angry. How dare you do that? Da, 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 da. And I've totally changed. I now say, that person must be in a hurry that is greater than mine. Sometimes I say, I pray that you will find serenity and time management so you don't have to drive like that. I just say it to myself. Screaming at that person who can't hear you, let's be honest, that's pretty insane. Screaming at them for 5 minutes when they are 10 miles away. That is not smart to my mind. I don't need to swear. I get amused. um, Yeah, that's a really nice thing to say, Nyasha. She's saying to Becca, I view how I view education or a test. It doesn't matter if you fail, and she didn't necessarily fail. Instead, what matters is whether you learned something from the experience. All right, so Isabel's saying that you feel that the anger gets out. Yes, it's by doing that. But you know something? Why get angry? You are a smart person, Isabel, and caring and kind. So have a look at that anger. Why do you get angry with the bozo? Right? By the way, we were discussing passive aggressive behaviors at lunchtime, and I'm pretty certain some of you know a few passive aggressive hand signals, where you can tell people what you think of them. All right, so Becca's saying that's a lovely thing, right? Becca's saying her mom showed her a quote. It basically said fail and fail again, but fail better. So we all fail at things. It doesn't mean, yeah, I understood. It's okay. I think I understood the meaning of it. So if you failed, the next time you fail, you will fail better. And you'll keep doing that until you get it right. Yeah. So to me, I look at it and go, Isabel, why would you let stupid people control your life and your anger? Well, that's the question I want to ask you. All right. Why would you let that person control your life? Bye, Nana. Um, because you are giving them the power to upset you. Does that make sense, Isabel? So what I found was if I came from a place of love instead of a place of anger, because I used to say, how can you drive like that? You're a danger on the road, da 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 da. And now I go, something, that person must really be in a hurry, and let me back off and give them space. And I found it totally has changed my driving experience. The other thing that I found, and some of you may want to think about this, that you are the way, for those of you who drive, you are the way you drive your car. All right. My one test of boyfriends was to let them drive me somewhere. And in that drive, I would know just about everything I needed to know about their respect for people, about their respect for rules. It was amazing. Some people you drive with them and it's just like, could you speed up a little bit? In your mind, you're saying that, and others are going, could you slow down for God's sake? So to me, and by the way, some people, just have no patience at all. So take a drive with anybody. It'll tell you a lot about the person. All right, Becca says that she's a totally hesitant driver. You overthink everything and you miss turns all the time. That doesn't surprise me, Becca, because that's what you do in life, right? You overthink everything. And so taking a risk for you is scary. Yeah. But you know something? I would say, how many of you would agree with me? Watching somebody cook will tell you a lot about how they are in their life. All right. Are they somebody who methodically cuts everything up and measures everything up? I watch Benji cook and I go, wow, there's no way I could cook like that. He literally has everything pre-prepared before he even brings out a pan. You know what I mean? And weighed and properly measured out and everything else. Now, and by the way, his kitchen is immaculate. Now, you all know that does not apply to me. So, um, oh, and so that's interesting. The Brit says he's a Benji type of cook as well. Yeah, and it's just about if you watch people, they can tell you so much about themselves that they don't mean to. Somebody said to me once, and I always found that interesting in the days when I still had my stuff up before I had to tidy it up for showing. Yes, I am an artist, and it shows, right? But I remember somebody saying to me, I find it fascinating the things you have in your home. And I said, really? And they go, yeah, it tells me a lot about you. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, you've traveled a great deal. And I'm going, how would you know that? And they said, have you looked around? You've got little things. Hi, Erin. Yes, please. We would, if you care to share, we'd love your biopsy results. I also had health results today, so wow, that's an interesting comment, Isabel. She says, you're an artist. Maybe that's why all the color palettes are good on you. I don't think they are, Isabel. But thank you for saying that. If you think about it, I actually am inclined to wear primary colors. Black, white, red, blue, very few florals. It's so, it's sort of who I am, Isabel. I'm a pretty black and white sort of person. But it's interesting that you should see it that way. All right, so Niesh is saying Benji is an artist. His canvas is his countertop. His food looks so delicious. You can smell it through the screen. Yes, isn't that true? He is a visual artist without a doubt, right? I think it's called plating, Niesh. I think they call it plating. Hang on, let me write that. He can put food on a plate and it looks magical. Right? And some people have that art, and it's a wonderful art. And my mom used to say, that the presentation of the food is half the argument. All right, so can I read this out loud, Erin? Yeah, I've met Byron. Byron, Benji, and I had dinner together one day. Becca's asking if Benji knows Byron Talbot. Yes, very interesting man to talk to. When you get a chance, Erin, let me know if I can repeat that. All right, so the Brits asking me something about a very British expression. He's saying, speaking of fashion sense, have you heard the phrase "mutton dressed as lamb"? And what does it mean? All right, so yes, it means that you dress inappropriately for your age. For example, if I at 72 in a couple of weeks, I at 72 was trying to dress like a teeny bopper, that would be mutton, old sheep, dressed as lamb. Okay, so that is mutton dressed as mutton. I've never heard mutton dressed as mutton. So I don't know. All right, so I'm just trying to see if Erin gave me the okay. Hang on a second. Yes, I would say mutton dressed as mutton would be age appropriate. And therefore, maybe if she's older, yeah. Yeah, you might want to ask her. Next time your friend says that, you might want to ask her. That's how we learn. Oh, Malta, great to meet you, and we hope to see you again. Thank you very much for popping in. So, the whole reality of this is that I'm stalling because I'm waiting for Erin to give me an okay, because I don't want to um, divulge what she has said without her permission. Yeah. Don't be a stranger, Malta. So, just while I'm waiting for Erin to get back to me, and by the way, for those of you um, who don't know, it sometimes can take Erin a bit of time to get back to me because of her situation. I just wanted to let you know, for those of you who have been following my health stuff, that I did what they call another A1C test yesterday. And an owie in my hand. And amazingly, of course, I can read it out loud. Thanks, Erin. Okay, I'll get back to my stuff because I'm not nearly as interesting. So Erin's saying the new medication. All right, so let's go back even further. Just hang on, everybody, while I try and scroll back on this one. It appears that her liver is very, very inflamed, which means that one of my medications has stopped working and my body is still trying to reject my liver. I was put on new meds. But we have to be careful with this new one because it's very concentrated and very potent and could cause a whole host of other problems, right? So they have to closely monitor her blood, which needs to be tested more often. The new medication takes down the inflammation because if it doesn't, it could cause water damage, more damage, I think, on your liver. Cause your liver more damage, right? And I was also put back on a steroid for a small dose now. Okay, so let me see if I understand this. So one part of your medication is not working properly. All right, so this isn't the best news, and it isn't the news you wanted to hear when you're already busy dealing with your issues with your father. So we first of all send you lots of hugs and ask, how can we better support you here, Erin? Because that must be really scary for you that you would have chosen not to have to deal with this at the same time as dealing with what's going on with your daddy. So to me, the first thing I say is, God must really love you to bits and trust you so much that he thinks you can cope with all of this at the same time. So look at this and just go, this isn't fun, but you can cope with it. Did you ever hear me tell the story, Erin, about my dad when he was in intensive care? And about the medications that they were giving him that was causing him a lot of problem. Because what I wanted to say to you is that sometimes we think that, taking certain medication is going to help us when it ends up actually doing the opposite. And, they don't know that until they get you on it. It's very, very difficult. I sometimes wonder how they make those calls. So hang in there. And thank you so much for keeping us updated. Okay, so very quickly, Erin, just so that you know, my dad was in intensive care and they came out and they said to me the drugs we are giving him are actually dissolving his veins. And so if we keep giving them to them, we're going to have a major problem that's going to result in him dying. And if we don't give him the medication, he also could die. So think about that, right? And so I said, and they said, we need you to make the decision. I said, what? And they said, we need you to make the decision as to what you want us to do. And I said, I need 24 hours. And what I did, Erin, is I phoned my minister, who had a great sense of humor. And that's why I really liked him. And I said, I got a situation and I'm a little bit scared that in making, and told him what was going on. I said, I'm a little bit scared that in making the decision that I'm trying to play God. And also in making the decision, I don't have the medical background to make a wise one. So why would they ask me to make the decision? And I just want to understand if you think I'm playing God here. And I don't know what I expected my minister to do, Erin, but I didn't expect him to burst out laughing, but he did. And he said to me, Sal, you are so cute. And I said, why? Because it wasn't the response I was expecting. And Erin, he said to me, because you cannot play God. Only God can do that. And if you take him off the medication and God wants him to live, he will live. And if you don't take him off the medication and God wants him to live, then he will. All right? And so, it really helped me. I said, good point. You see, if you really believe that, then it's a good point. And I said, so basically it doesn't really matter, is what you're saying, that if he's meant to live, he will. He said, yeah, exactly. And I said to him, thank you so much. That is exactly the input I needed. And then I went back and I thought, okay, logically, if the stuff going in is dissolving his veins, Erin, then that needs to stop. And I will trust God on the other part. All right? And so, Erin, what I'm saying to you is that I understand that this is really scary. But I think somebody said just now that, some of the medications we take, Juliana saying most medications harm us in some way. Sharon, I thought it was a wonderful response from the minister, and it sure helped me, make what I call a rational decision. And so then I just went, okay, fine. I know for a fact that the stuff they're putting in is dissolving his veins. So why would I tell them to continue that? And so, Erin, sometimes it's a good thing that they found out that medication isn't working. All right. It allows them an opportunity to find something that does. Something, it's interesting, the Brit saying that he thinks that his aunt may be in her final days because she's 95 next month. Isn't it amazing that we have so many people living that long now? In my day, somebody living to 95, in my mum's day rather, somebody living to 95 was sort of, it happened occasionally, but I'm hearing more and more people are living to 99, 100 or whatever, which I should warn you young people, you may want to get your pension organized early in your life because, as the medications change and they can extend our lives more, right, you're going to need more pension money. Think about that, right? Invest early. But it's interesting as well that because she's 95, that everybody now thinks she's, she had her last stroke at 90. She had a stroke at 90. Well, there are people that have had multiple strokes. Papa, who lives downstairs, has had a series of them. and so, it's like some people just don't die at 95, right? All right. And so, my mom died at 84. So, we never really know. It's not within us to know somehow. All right. So Aaron says, you know me and you know that I am scared. Yes, I do know that, Aaron. But I take it in my stride. I've been very well aware that one, that I was diagnosed, that this would be a very delicate, yeah, situation, right? Always, yeah. So you understand that they've got to play the juggling game with those meds. And Erin, I am so grateful that you are as practical as you are. And I think that's the name I would give to you, if I can say that, Erin. You're a very practical person. You understand that, life is not about easy. Life is about, balancing what the cards you've been given. So Erin's saying she put herself back into remission or just save my liver and stop myself from eating the things I love, right? Okay, so who's the transplant? Oh, you've had a transplant already? Yeah, it is another fight, but it's worth it. Well done, Erin. Don't you quit on yourself, honey. Wow, Becca, that is incredible. Becca's saying that her brother, who is still living at home, had a mini stroke at work. How old is he, Becca? And Juliana's saying, Becca, that he needs rest and needs to see his doctor. I'm pretty sure he's probably already been told that, Juliana. But thank you for caring. Yeah, I remember Cockney saying, the Brit saying that he had an attack of Bell's palsy back in 2016. I remember that very well. And they were calling that a mini stroke, right? He's just turned 27, but at the time he was like 25. Okay, so this isn't something new. Yeah. So, and uh, has he been able to get the right help for this, Becca? I think, with all due respect, I don't think that strokes are just about overwork. Normally, there's a blood clot or something of some sort that nobody knows about, or something is going on that people don't know about. So sometimes, and I've got to say this, sometimes something like that can save somebody's life, because when somebody has a mini stroke like that, they're inclined to do a really good panel of tests. All right, and Becca's saying he might have been smoking then as well, which could have affected it. It's really interesting because the worst thing I found, Becca, was being a smoker. They blamed everything on being a smoker when it's not true, quite honestly. All right, so the Brit saying strokes can be hereditary as well. I didn't know it was a hereditary thing. That's interesting. But also, I'd have to say this, that if your mom had a stroke, then thinking that you will have one because, yes, you might be more at risk. The reason I say this, Britt, is because, for example, my mom had osteoporosis. That's the weakness of the bones. And they said the same thing. If you've got it in your family, you need to get tested. So I went off and they did the very fancy scan of my skeleton, and I actually was a test case for the new machine they brought in locally. And I remember the technician saying to me, wow, you must exercise a lot. Yeah, right. And I said, why? And they said, you got the bones of a 20-year-old. And I said, well, and she said, I don't know what you're doing in your diet. I don't know what you're doing for exercise, but keep doing it. And I said, thank you. And I went home and had lemon meringue pie. Right. Okay. So Erin's saying, yeah, I did know what you meant, Erin, that you're going to do whatever it takes. You're going to fight to put yourself back in remission. Yeah. The same as I'm trying to learn a new way of life in terms of the diabetes. I was going to talk to you about that, Erin, because I had a really difficult month where I wasn't eating as well as I wanted, but I did everything I could to hang in there. You remember we were talking last week about, when you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hold on. Well, I want to tell you something, that there was so much stress this month that there were times when I was holding onto that rope. Now, what happens when I can't smoke anymore, or I choose not to, is what's the next thing you're going to do is go to the fridge. And so I was aware that I was eating foods that I shouldn't occasionally, to just almost hang on. And it was really interesting because I went and had this test done, and I've managed to stay exactly as I was. Now, for those of you who know about diabetes, to be able to have that happen means that I did eat the wrong things, but I did enough correcting things to balance it out. Jody kept saying to me, don't worry, you are doing such a good job. And I'm going, no, but I'm still eating wrong things every now and then. And Jody kept saying to me, look how hard you're working at trying to balance everything out. You're going to be fine. And I really, and as you know, Jody, I was really terrified I was going to end up with a straight diabetes. I'm pre-diabetes at the moment, but I was so scared I was going to be come in at a diabetes level, and I didn't. I stayed exactly the same as I was last time. So, Erin, like you, right? This isn't an easy fight, but it's one we're prepared to take on. And luckily enough, we have people like Jody and other people who understand, what it takes. And I cannot tell you how many times Jody helped me to just balance and go, you can do this, Sal. You're doing fine. I kept thinking I had failed. Well, don't I thank you, Juliana, but the congratulations go to Jody, because Jody really kept me grounded. All right, so Jody's saying you never lost control. I know you were frightened. You always had laser focus. Well, yeah, you know, I did try really hard, Jody, and you know that. And I was very frustrated that I couldn't get it, I couldn't get it under control fast enough. But I think part of it was that I kept seeing my morning numbers higher than I wanted to. And yet, if I took it at a different time of the day, I was fine. And I started to think maybe that's because I go to bed so late, Maybe my body hasn't had time to process it, and it's the wrong time for me to be taking my blood sugar. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. So Erin's saying, does the test for osteoporosis hurt at all? Or is it uncomfortable because I have to do the same thing due to the fact of the prolonged use of steroids can cause it? Okay. Erin, listen up, girl. It's really very difficult, Erin. You have to go into a room and you have to lie down, and a machine goes broop, broop over you, and then you get up. Ever had a CAT scan, Erin? What time do I go to bed? Normally about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. All right? Erin, you know me well enough that I would not tell you a lie on that one. I'm not joking. It was like, is that it? Yeah, I was expecting something horrible as well. So I've got a feeling you've probably had a CAT scan. Doesn't hurt at all. It's just like, I can't remember whether the machine went over me or I traveled into a machine. I've got a feeling that machine traveled. I didn't. You, Becca, you always thought that I was an early to bed person. No, I'm a night person. Retirement was my greatest gift because I could go to bed when I want to. All right, so the Brit, that's a very good point. All right. I agree with you. The Brits saying, isn't it weird that when you go in for a medical procedure, they're told that there is a chance that you could die while you're in the operating theater. And I quite agree with you, Britt. I say the same thing. Well, the good news is I won't know about it, will I? I totally agree with you. Can I fall asleep right away? It depends if I do the right things before I go to sleep, Becca. I think the machine traveled over me as well, Jody. That is my memory. Oh, Roseanne. Hi, honey. How are you doing? Yeah, part of me, I'm looking over there to see where the bottle of Bailey's is. And, it's been packed for 6 months. But yeah, the after midnight broadcasts were funny. I don't know if you know, Roseanne, but Oz came in on Sunday, which totally messed my mind. He caught me hook, line, and sinker. All right. All right. So hang on a second. Erin's saying, but there's a problem with eating the wrong things every now and then. And trust me, there's everything that's going on with Dad. I've been eating French fries and going out of style. Okay. So Erin, Jody taught me something that I want you to hear. Okay. There is a difference between being on a stupid diet and then living life. All right. And so it's everything in moderation. I found the balance and I know my body. You're quite right. But I can't tell you how much work that took. And Jody told me, but since when do I believe Jody? Jody told me that, Sal, just do it and your body will tell you what to eat and what not to eat. And so every now and then, Erin, during this stress, I really needed Scotch mints. And what I do now is if I can feel that happening, and I will go and get one. If I've had too many, what I do is I will throw a Scotch mint into water and then drink Scotch mint water. It makes sense, Erin. So to me, it's like the other thing, little tricks, Erin. I will go out with people. I won't order the French fries, but you can be sure I'm going to eat a couple off the other person's plate. All right. Or I will have them bring me, they'll bring bread to the table when I'm out. And I'll look at the server and I will say, I need you to look me in the eyes and believe me on what I'm about to tell you. I don't care if I beg you on my hands and knees to bring me more bread. Please do not do that. All right? Please do not do that. I'm not meant to eat, but your bread is so good, I'm going to want more. So please don't do that. Just let me know that I'm not going to get any more. I will eat it more slowly. So, yeah, since when do I believe Jody? Well, it's really funny because Jody is one of those people that is an unsung hero a lot of the time. But, I call her Dr. Jody for a reason. Because she has been so sick, she's like Erin. She's been so sick for a lot of her life that she has a lot of knowledge that I don't. No, actually, Jody, the mint is not at the bottom of the water because the mint dissolves in the water. But I'm not allowed to have another mint until I finish the water. Right. So white flour and sugar are poison for Nana, right? She's learned that. Yeah, I take a Scotch mint and I drop it in a glass of water. It's like it's my treat. Because I have to finish the whole thing of water before I can put another Scotch mint in. It doesn't make sense to you because your mind doesn't work like mine. Right. So, but you cheat, and that's what Jody said. We've still got to live. I agree with you, Nana, right? You cheat now and then, but you pay for it quite often. Yeah. What does the mint in water do? It tastes great. And it stops me eating 5. That's the trick, Nyasha. The trick is that I can put a mint in water and tell myself you don't get another mint until you've drunk all that water. In the meantime, I'm not eating 5 more. It slows me down. Becca loves lemon in her water, all right? So really it's called a distraction. But you know what Jody reminded me? Um, um, that's a huge topic. Sorry, the Brits are asking whether I believe in an afterlife. Yep. I actually, I do believe, yes. Um, so yeah, we're not robots. You know, you will eat fries every now and then. You can probably imagine with my brother coming, I am worried about what's going to happen because he eats 3 meals a day, and I don't anymore. You know, I don't eat until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and then I eat until 11, and then I stop. All right. All right. And then I stop. Right. So my problem is, he's going to want things like bread. And so, and I'm going, okay, fine. But I can already hear Jody saying to me, he's only with you for a week. And it's maybe the last time you see him. So just be careful. I can go back to eating 3 meals a day. I now know to eat slowly, more slowly than he does, so I don't put in as much. I can have a slice of bread, just don't have two, all those sort of things. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's interesting you should say that, Nana, because I felt exactly the same way, that fasting would not be good for diabetes. It goes against the norm. Um, But you know something? I actually did quite a bit of research and checked out. I checked out the Mayo Clinic and what it had to say, and it actually said that they agree that it does appear to work for people with diabetes. All right. So Erin's saying you've you've had many CAT scans. Okay. If you have cerebral palsy, it literally means that half your brain is dead. So you can imagine how many CAT scans you've had. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you see, Jody is saying that this is probably the last week I will have with my brother. I might as well enjoy it. I quite agree, but I think I can get smart too. All right, so Becca and the Brit are having discussions about an afterlife, and Becca saying that she believes that our bodies are fixed or glorified in a human way. Really, that's interesting. All right, so Nana, you're also fasting for 14 hours. Yeah, 14 hours is actually not as difficult as I thought. I normally do about 17. I've noticed while I've been under this high pressure this week, I've allowed myself not to worry about doing 16. I go, that's good. 16 is good, Sal. Don't worry about it. You can do the rest of this. So, and you have low blood sugar. All right. So, it is interesting then. I did do quite a bit of research. I actually thought, with all due respect, that Jody, had lost a few of those marbles. And then I thought, but before I really, tell her she's a raving idiot, let me go check it out. And I did do quite a bit of research. And to my absolute amazement, the Mayo Clinic said that, a lot of people with diabetes had been asking about this. And from everything they can see, it is working for people. And it has to do with it forces the cells. Sorry, does anybody else want to hear about this? And what it does is it forces the cells to do the work that they're meant to do. And I just went, wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, and my numbers, I want to tell you, I was amazed that my numbers were as good as they were. So to me, I just say to myself, okay, fine, I can eat between this time. By the way, do I occasionally do it slightly differently? Yeah, but it's okay. As Jody keeps telling me, and I listen now because I need that voice in my head, that it's not about perfection, it's about retraining your brain, to not need food the way it did. Jody, you will be absolutely amazed how I go to the fridge now and I go, okay, fine, I can have my first meal. This is at like 5 o'clock or something. And I will go to the fridge and I'll get a boiled egg. Or I will come back and I'll go, okay, now I'd like a salad. You see, I have it all lined up in my fridge already. Jody's saying she has gone as long as 3 days not needing insulin because of fasting. And Jody does big fasts slowly. Jody, it's, for you, you do 24-hour and 36-hour type things, right? There's part of me that goes, I don't know if I'd ever be able to do that, but I'm certain you felt the same way. Yes, and Britt, that's what I was thinking about. While my brother's here, I was thinking that, things like seafood and stuff that are good for me. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with a good steak either. It's protein is good for you. The stuff that is bad for you is the French fries that Erin was talking about and stuff like that. It doesn't mean you can't eat French fries. I just eat French fries. I don't think I've had French fries in a long time. I do occasionally have baked potato, but I have half one, right? Whereas before I'd eat a whole baked potato, now I have half a one, and that is normally on a Sunday. You definitely need protein, so that's why I start my day with a boiled egg. That is protein. Um, No, I have a steak that's not burnt beyond recognition. No, I don't do that. In fact, it's funny because my steak will probably last me the best part of a week. If I take a strip loin that is normally about this big, I will have half of it for a meal, and then I will cut the rest of it up into slices, and I will put some on salads, and I'll put some in with a little bit of pasta. That one steak can last me a week now. Isn't it amazing? So Isabel's saying, this is very good, Jody. I have to try fasting, but I don't know how I will do it. You're obsessed with food in your head. So even though you're not hungry, you actually think you are. I totally relate to that. We are here for you, Isabel. So if you want to start fasting, Jody's your lady. She's an expert at it. All right. So for you, you're saying never give you a rare or medium steak. You see, to me, a well done steak is overdone. All right. So that's just the way we like our steaks, right? All right. How to retrain your brain not to need food as often. Exactly. I'm always craving sugar. So am I. And it's not. All right. So this is really, I have to tell you, um, the best steak of all you guys that are talking about steaks, the best steak is medium rare on the inside and charred on the outside. It's called a Chicago. It's my favorite steak of all time. Not many places can do it properly, but it's great. So Jody is telling Isabel, in our culture, we are programmed to eat 3 times a day, even though we don't need it. And you know something, Isabel? Jody, how long have I been doing this? About 3 months now? I am amazed how my eating has changed. I am absolutely amazed how my eating has changed. Becca, is that about the steak? Is that what you're asking? How do they do that? Yeah. Um, they use a blowtorch, I think. You know what I mean? They cook it to probably just rare, and then they literally use a blowtorch or something to crisp up the outside, and it's so good. All right, so Isabel and anybody else that is sugar fixated, I still crave sugar occasionally. Oh, it is epic, Becca. Try one. Go to a good restaurant and have a Chicago. See if they can do you a Chicago steak. A blue steak is just, literally they put it on the pan, turn it over, and serve it. It's not my idea of a good steak, but I used to go out with somebody who liked it like that. So Isabel, you're keto, and you went a year without pasta. I still eat pasta. All right, so this is not about, again, listen to us, Isabel. This is not about what you can't eat. It's about what you can eat. I still have bread. I still have pasta. All right? I know that you probably don't believe me, but I've managed to keep my blood sugar at the same. So yes, you're obsessed with food because you're used to just mindlessly eating. The other thing I've learned to do, I mean, Jody and I could write a book on this, right? You need to find out what you need. You see, my needs are different from Jody's. And so the whole thing is if you haven't done it already, start being, as Nana so rightly says, start with a smaller plate. I actually want to tell you that fasting to me was easier um, than portion control. Right? I think anybody that can do a year on keto deserves a medal. Right. A year and a half, 2 medals. Yes. You see, I'm not on a diet that says that. I am on a lifestyle that says I am allowed. I eat a potato on Sundays or half a potato, right? Isabel, we would really like to help you on this. And by the way, Isabel, it's not change tomorrow. It's start working towards it now. All right. All right, so Rick also eats every meal on a smaller plate. Yes, and we should do at our age, or my age anyway. You think your nephew might be anorexic? Okay. All right, so he probably needs to get some help with that. Believe you me, I had that yesterday, Isabel. I had anger management control issue yesterday without because I'm on a low carb as well. So the fact that you're already keto, what is it that you want to achieve? Because he was talking about autism, and I think you'll find that YouTube automatically thinks that somebody is insulting. He isn't. I didn't block him. It must be done by YouTube, not by me. All right, so you see, that's the whole thing, Isabel. So definitely, Jody does a great job um, of supporting me. Well, you know something, Isabel. I want you to understand. Yeah, it wasn't that you said something wrong. You've mentioned the word autism and Asperger's and everything else, and I think Google thinks you might be insulting, and so it has a warning thing that comes up. So no, you didn't do anything wrong at all, honey. You're doing great. I'm very proud of you. When I think of how you used to talk and the control you have today, brilliant. I'm so impressed with you. It's actually a pleasure talking with you. All right, Isabel. Um, I was on heart medication 5 years ago. And what I did was say, okay, what do I need to do to get off this heart medication? What I did was I did it so well that my blood pressure went the other way. And my doctor, I know you were, but it's not that you did anything wrong, honey. It's, the algorithm in YouTube picks up those words and it relates it to you. It relates it to you 3 times. It goes, okay, we need to stop this guy for a while, calm him down. It's not that you did anything wrong, because most people are not talking about those things. All right. And so, you did great, honey. Don't take it personally. Okay, Becca, good idea. Do the slow down routine. And Becca, please let me know, Becca, how's the showering going? You know, one of the challenges for Becca is how many showers can she do a week? Okay, you did tell Jody. All right, can she discuss it with me after the broadcast? All right, good night, Nana, as well. Good night to both of you. Okay, so keep working on that. Keep trying to get more in. It means you're looking after yourself. That takes good girl. Well done, Becca. All right, it's a wonderful thing for you to know. If you can fit 3 or 4 showers in a week, you're looking after yourself. All right, and that takes control. It's easier not to do it. It's the same way as we all have these challenges. Okay, so Isabel, we really would like to help you here, because obviously, if you've been on keto for a year and a half, that is amazing. So it's just like, I think the first thing, I'm not sure, Isabel. I need to understand. Are you a research sort of person, or are you just happy just to do whatever? The reason I say that is because, it really does help to sort of go, let me look at what, good medical people are saying about this. Because that to me was everything that they tell you about diabetes is you need to eat regular meals. And what I find is interesting is Jody is working towards keto. What I'm finding is I am doing keto more. I'm not keto at the moment, but every meal I'm noticing I'm more keto than I was last week. Right? Yeah, this whole thing about the fact that because I've got diabetes, I have to eat every 2 hours. Well, guess what? That I proved that wrong. Yeah, good to see you again, Benj. And hugs, honey. Like Bugs Bunny, but hugs, honey. Um, everybody, Britt, everybody knows that feeling. I tend to eat more often after I've had a meltdown. Yes. So we are learning little bits. The fact that you've done keto for a year and a half tells us an awful lot about your discipline, because that's not easy to do. And so I think if you have a look at the research about this fasting, you will get a better idea of why it's beneficial. And Jody will give you the links because she's got them all. You know, she's really very well known. Well, you know, we'll do everything we can to support you in this, Isabel, if that's what you want to do. By the way, Isabel, I do need to tell you that fasting is so much easier than I thought it would be. I don't crave food. Um, you know, my mind is trained now not to eat between 11 o'clock and 5. Yeah, I want to tell you that my mental disability makes me eat more as well. And I'm being serious, Britt. It is there's part of me that goes, yeah, I've got obsessions. Remember, I was a smoker. All right. So, this is all about we can change our thinking if we choose to. Now, Benji, did you do the highlighting? No, it doesn't sound like a cop out. It sounds like human nature to me. And so what I want you to know is we all are struggling with our own thing. Yes, Isabel, it was emotional eating. I think it will go as well. I am now, I started off watching the carbs, which you have done big time. And now I'm noticing that um, sorry, Becca, you're on a different wavelength. The highlighting comes from people who are moderators and things like that on here. Benji is on a project where he needs to do some highlighting, so I like to check in with him regularly. All right, exactly, Sharon. Sharon's saying, I don't get hungry until the evening. It's on I can't stop eating until I go to sleep. Okay, so Sharon, here is the good thing. Do you prep your meals? You see, that's something we learned from Beth. See, we learned from Beth that the trick to this is that you have meals already to eat in the fridge. So when I go to my fridge in the morning, my boiled egg is already there. By the way, I write the day on which I boiled those eggs, so I know that this egg must be eaten by this time. So I write the day that I cook the egg. So but they're already there. They're in a bowl, already pre-cooked eggs. They're in a bowl, so I can grab one. At the moment, I have 3 lots of salad pre-made in my right. Start prepping the meals, Sharon. You'll be amazed at the difference. So I have 3 salads ready to go in there. I have bags with fruit in them, cherries and grapes, but portioned out. Like a cup of cherries and a cup of grapes. So I can grab that bag. And then what I also have, this is the new one for me. Okay, I got to show you this because this actually is interesting. Hang on a second. Okay, so for those of you who like to snack, I make my snack pack. I get a big bowl and I throw, let me try and see what I've got in here. This is vegetable chips in there. I've got popcorn, regular popcorn, but I've also got little bits of caramel rice cake in there so that every now and then I hit something sweet. This one hasn't, I've got corn chips in there, and then this one hasn't got it. But normally I throw in some nuts and a little bit of dried fruit. Like trail mix. I throw like a quarter of a cup of trail mix in there. And so that is my snack pack. So to me, this is like, I don't go with a big bag of anything because you know what'll happen. I'll just keep eating it. This I'm allowed to have. Every day I grab one of these. Makes sense for those of you who, now there's nothing to stop me from getting a second one or a third or a fourth because I've probably got about 6 of them made up at a time. But you know, it's the fact that I know I can eat this without guilt that is important to me. You see, it's about portion control. It's not about, Sharon, I want to tell you, and that's why pre-prepping your food works, because it's already the right proportion. All right. Hang on a second. Okay, so dried fruit is great, but understand that's very high sugar. That's why I just throw a couple of little bits in there. Do you understand that, Sharon? Dried fruits, you think they're good for you, but they're not. They're lots of sugar in them. So I just throw probably even an eighth of a cup of trail mix in here so that I, get to the bits at the bottom and they're tasty. The same way as I've got caramel corn in there or corn rice cakes. Not a lot of it, but just every now and then I go, oh, that was nice. It's a little treat. Okay, look at this. This is a little pre-made snack pack of fruit. All right, I've got a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of apple, some grapes, and some apple. And the apple I just put into lemon water before, maybe for 10 minutes before I packed it into here. And this is my, okay, I need something sweet now. I'll eat cherries. All right, even though I know this is going to up my sugar content, but better cherries than lemon meringue pie. And so the other thing is that be aware of your fiber. Do I eat peanut butter with apples? Yes, I can. By the way, peanut butter is very good for you. Oh, I didn't know that the black cherries are melatonin. I didn't know that. That's interesting. And they are anti-inflammatory. I remember Jody telling me that. So this to me is an intelligent snack if I want it. All right, so what else was said here? You've been thinking about purchasing a dehydrator so you can make chips from bananas, mango, and fresh fruits. You don't have organic snacks there in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay. So if you want to do it, but you can do it in an oven. You don't have to have a dehydrator. In your climate, you can do it outside. I just want to tell you just so that you know that. All right? So, all all that a dehydrator is, it's a fancy piece of sunlight. All right? So if you really want to do it, you live you live in a climate that allows you. She retracted it. Yeah. And by the way, Becca, your comment got nuked as well. But it's asking me for permission. I'm going to tell them that they can show it. All right. So do you understand that, Nyasha, that you don't have to buy a fancy machine? The weather that you have will dehydrate food. Just make sure that you got it covered so that the flies don't get in it. But, you can do that out in the sunshine very easily. But be aware, Nyasha, I want you to be aware of that be aware that, some of these fruits are not as good for you as you think. Let me try and see here. You want bananas. Did you know bananas are not that that are pretty high in sugar. I'm not sure about mango. So just be aware of which fruits you're eating. By the way, I thought prunes were really good for me, but they are huge, huge sugar content. All right, so do a little bit of talking to Mr. Google on that, Nyasha. All right. Yes, bananas are very high in sugar. You see, Dr. Jody is going to help us again. So what I'm doing is, I will have apple because I know that's good for me. But try and do it in happy birthday, Lauren. Try and do it in moderation. All right, and make sure you know which are the ones that have high fruit content. It's not that I can't have prunes, because prunes are also good for my digestion, but I just don't have them every day. All right. But it may be, Jody, that where Nyasha lives, they don't necessarily have strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries, right? Hers may be mangoes, pineapple, and who knows what. So just what I'm saying to Nyasha is do some research. There you go, Nyasha. All right. Just check out, why are you trying to do the dehydrated foods? If it's because you want to eat better. All right. So Juliana's saying that I think that's a grapefruit and kiwi are great for diabetics, right? Berries are very good. I do know that. Yeah, strawberries, blackberries, those sort of things are meant to be good for you. But again, not all of them, I think. So do a bit of research. So the thing that I'm trying to say to you all is it looks like a pineapple to me too. Yes, Becca. So we all have bodies that crave certain things. I was an absolute sugar addict. I no longer take sugar in my coffee. I have been using Truvia for probably 3 years. When I travel, I take it with me because I don't like the stuff they have in most restaurants. I like the Truvia. So I carry it with me with my name on it out in a little bottle like this, that I have it filled up with Truvia, and it says Sal's sweetener, because this is like it's important to me that I'm able to get to it because it really works well for me. It has, and I do, as you all know, I do lattes because I can then just sprinkle the Truvia on top of it. I don't mix it in with my coffee. I put it on top of the foam, and I don't need very much because it's so powerful. So, all right. So I just want to check. Isabel, do you already have Jody's email? I just want to make sure. Yeah, I bought a foaming machine probably 10 years ago, and I just, that's what I do. I make a latte so I can sprinkle the sugar on top of the foam, or the would-be sugar. I have not missed sugar having Truvia. Now when I cook, I quite often put Truvia in instead of, when it calls for sugar, I'll put Truvia in. When I make bread, I put Truvia in, not sugar. Okay, so you two are in contact. That's good. All right, so Nyasha can get strawberries at the supermarket. They don't grow here. That's what I thought. Yeah. All right, so there you go. Nyasha saying the reason I do want to eat snacks. I'm eating nuts and it's annoying. I want to stop consuming processed snacks. By the way, a few nuts, for example, in this little container, one of these quarters could be nuts. That would be about the amount, Nyasha. So don't go eating a bag of nuts, right? It's called everything in moderation, small amounts. If you can get an apple, I've probably got a third of an apple here. Not half, maybe a third. I think I ended up eating the last third when I was cutting them up. All right, so what I want you to do is to understand this is not something that you do overnight. All right, unless you're very unusual. This is something you start working towards. Jody, would that be the best way to describe it? Start making little changes. All right. This week, because I had so much stress coming at me at so many different levels, I kept, the way I forgave myself for having something that I shouldn't was you didn't grab a cigarette, Sal. All right. So, I tried to make sure I reminded myself. All right. So the Brit's saying he doesn't even eat fruit and vegetables, right? Imagine what that's doing to your body, Brit. You live on cakes and sweets. Well, look forward to diabetes because you will end up with it unless you start taking some action, all right? Isabel says, Jody, if I write late at night because I'm a late person, will you get a ring or a noise? Because I don't want to disturb you. Yeah, well, guess what? She's probably talking to me late at night, so don't worry about it. Yes, so Jody's confirming, absolutely. Make little changes, people. You're more likely to stick with them. So, I want to tell you, if you had told me that I could live without French fries or I could live without having potatoes every day, I would not have believed it. It is a choice that you have to make for yourself, or it will be made for you. You need to eat fruit and vegetables. You know something, a strange thing is, Britt, if you had a bowl this size next to your computer and you threw in some fruit and vegetables into that bowl, you would eat them while you're on the computer, chit-chatting to Georgia. All right? It just takes the willingness to fill up a bowl with some fruit and vegetables. Bring out a little bowl with just some carrots and some celery and put it beside your computer, and you'll be amazed how quickly you eat it. Just because it's there, and then, maybe for the next few hours, you actually bring in some fruit. But you need to take the time to pre-prep those foods. And that's what we're talking about, is if you make the time to pre-prep it, it shows you're willing. Yes, while watching Lena eat her chips and salsa, absolutely. All right? We do that on Friday evenings, Becca. We have lighter conversation on a Friday evening normally. It's the Friday lunchtime that's pretty heavy. It depends as well where it goes, Becca. I'm a great believer. I start the thing with this idea, and then where it goes from there is up to the viewers. It's something that I've always believed. My job is just to get it moving, and to be able to go back to something if that conversation dies down. So we are, again, as we did at lunchtime, we're over time, but I'm hoping that you all got something out of today's broadcast. Isabel, we'll be delighted to help you any way we can. Keep asking the questions because that's what I did. All right, and keep doing your own research. But what I have found out, and Jody helped me with this, it's not about all or nothing. It's like, try a fast and you'll be surprised that it really is amazing how easy it was. I thought I was going to be having hunger pangs and I didn't. By the way, if you do get a hunger pang, know what you're going to go for. For example, I know this sounds strange, Isabel, but if I get a sweetness or a hunger pang, do you know what I go for now? This shows you how much I've changed. If that happens to me during the day, I actually will go and take some Metamucil, which has an orange taste to it, but it's pure fiber. It's just called, okay, if you got to have something, at least have something that's good for your system. Right? And quite often that is also the first meal of when I decide, okay, I want to start eating. I will start with some Metamucil. I want to tell you, Sharon, the lunchtime broadcast was quite interesting. I believe for people. So this is about how much do you want to do something to make a difference? It's like stopping smoking. Yeah. All right. So Niesh is saying, that she used to eat sweets upon sweets. So did I. I could open a bag and not finish until the bag was empty. So I want you to know I understand this. So to me, it's like I now go to the fridge, or actually this is in a cupboard normally, but I will go to the fridge and go and get a snack. But my snack looks like this now. All right. By the way, I started 6 months ago. My snack was sourdough type rye bread with stuff on it. And now I don't even crave that. It's really strange. You've done a great job, Jody, because I don't know if you found the same thing. I also found out that if you're going to have bread, have sourdough, right? It is better for your glycemic index. So what I'm saying to you all is this is a decision only you can make. And I had expected a greater weight loss than I've had, but it hasn't happened yet. But I still believe that it will happen. I really do. I think my body is adjusting to all of this. And so, to me, it's like I can do this, right? I can do this, and I'm just amazed that my blood sugar, my A1C, that's the health of my cells for the last 6 months, stayed the same. It didn't go up. I want to tell you that was such a relief, because I will go and see my doctor on Monday, and that actually I have to cancel that. I meant to cancel it today. All right. So as a reward for being good on your diet for the rest of the week, you have a mini pig out. All right. So the same way as I allow myself to have whatever I want to have on a Sunday in terms of a main meal. It was 6, Erin. Oh, wait a minute. Jody can convert. I can't. Maybe I can convert. Hang on a sec. But wait a minute, I can do that. Let me find it. Probably while I'm looking for it, Jody will give it to you because she's so stealth at that. I think 6 is because you do yours on a different scale. I've got Canadian stuff here. Okay, that's not coming up. We have to wait for Jody right now. Okay, let me just type it in. Actually, you know something, Erin, you can do that. You're more than capable. Oh, there you go. I learned something today. Apparently, A1C is universal. 6 is a 6. I'm going to have a snack now. So, Erin, 6. All right. Isabel was at 11, and now with keto, she's down to 5.7. Well done. 4.3 is very low. It's very low. How noisy is this chip? So, Isabel, I could be wrong, but we're talking about diabetes readings, Britt. I could be wrong here, but Erin, um, I believe it can get too low. So just so that you know, Britt, let me try and describe this. That if your blood sugar reading is the glucose in your cells, if that's reading about 5.7, then you are fine, right? If it gets to 6, which mine is, that means you're pre-diabetic. If it gets to over 7.1, then you are diabetic. And this is just on the daily readings. But so anything under 7 is good. However, Erin, I believe that 4.3 can be dangerous on the other side. But I don't know a lot about it. I am not I'm not a doctor. Yes, that's what my fear is, Becca, that there is a hyperglycemic as well as a hypoglycemic. Yes. All right. So let me try and describe this to you, Britt. Basically, if you have been eating too much sugar, it shows up in your blood, and they do a test for this. One is a test that you do on a regular basis to monitor how you're doing, but the one that the doctor's interested is it happens once every 3 months, and it tells the doctor how your average has been doing over 3 months. Okay? And that's called an A1C test, and that's the one I had yesterday. And it came in at 6, which is not bad. It means I'm still getting closer to diabetes than 5.7 because it's 6. Okay, Erin, keep us informed, please. Yeah. And Erin, this is the whole thing. You may need to adjust for a while and just eat a little bit less. Maybe it's, four fries, not 40. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not that you have to stop fries completely, just get control. I'm trying to think when I last had poutine. How many of you know I used to love going for poutine, which is fries with gravy and cheese curds on top. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll do that when my brother's here. Be one of the treats. All right, guys. I love poutine too. 6.5 or above is in diabetes, right? And I am at 6. The question is, we can all eat fries. It's how often? Jody, you had fries this week, didn't you? You had something that you don't normally have. Yep. So poutine is a Canadian thing, and we love it. So I'm going to go and eat rather than eat in your ear. Yeah, you had fries and Indian food, and that's okay. Is the thing you were telling. Yes, Nyasha. That is why your diabetic clinic appointments are every 4 months. Do they do a blood test on you, Nyasha? They pull blood. If you know the figure, if you know the results of that, let us know so we can keep an eye on you. I have no idea, but what did you try? Lancashire plum bread. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, so okay, so 4.3 is normal, but it's bordering on too low. Yeah. Good. All right. So, Erin, it's about what carbs, like, that's why I have one piece of sourdough every day, right? I bake my own sourdough and I just take a slice. I have a slice of that. So, these are choices that we make. And I applaud anybody that's trying to do it. And here's what we know. Anybody who's trying to do that deserves the support. All right. And we are here to give what support we can for those people. So Isabel asked the questions. I actually think we need to clone Jody now because, I'm scared of overloading her. But Jody loves to share her knowledge. Yeah, I'd give her a medal for sure. All right. So let's all keep working at it. Remember, it's about just little steps, baby steps in the right direction. I cannot believe how much I've changed in 3 months. Jody says she's fine. I'm being a mother hen. We can do this. And tomorrow's Saturday. You know what Saturday is? My day. I start with me on a Saturday, right? What do I want to do? Not what do I need to do for DearMamaSal, not da-da-da-da. It's what do I want to do today? So I really enjoy. Oh, you know what I did? Jody knows that I really like a cold ice cream type thing. Just so that you know, what I did today, Jody, as an experiment, was I took almond milk and blended in some strawberries and put it in a plastic beaker about this big, and I stuck a popsicle stick in it. I'm going to try that tonight. Yeah. Okay. So here's Nyasha's learning now, right? They don't treat you like an adult at all, do they, Nyasha? Okay, so Nyasha's saying, all the time I'd been going to the doctor without knowledge of this, A1C, and its numbers. Yes, there is a regular blood draw every year. Never knew the reason behind it, but now I'll ask. There you go. Welcome to adulthood. Okay. I'm out of here. I've got food to eat and not much time to eat it. And I'm going to binge watch something. I'm allowed. Whew. We can do this, people. Remember to keep your sense of humor. Remember to defuse yourself, that, same as I've been doing after, a lot of stress. And remember that really the person that really cares about your health needs to be you. Yeah, she's very helpful and very kind and very supportive to anybody who's trying to eat better. She also has a lot of knowledge. So just use her wisely because I need her to have time for me, please. I'm very selfish on that one. Big hugs, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. And we will check you back here again on Sunday. And, who knows? I might even edit another vlog or two tomorrow if I feel so inclined, but it won't be my number one thing. This is DearMamaSal saying big hugs. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now.